Hello there YouTube, Devin here again. Today I have another helmet video for you, and this is going to be, like I said, continuing in my stahlhelm line of helmets that aren't really Nazi-produced stahlhelms, going off the proof that there's a lot of other countries and a lot of other helmets that look like stahlhelms and pretty much are stahlhelms, but they weren't made for the Nazis. This one is actually made after the war. This is a 1952 stahlhelm, and it was made because in a effort to denazify, alright, there was a problem with the now separated East and West Germany, okay? If you put a whole bunch of people in American resembling gear and helmets, and Western Allied resembled gear and helmets right on the border, and vice versa on the Eastern Germany, if you put a whole bunch of Russian equipment and helmet wearing troops right on the border, that could be very easily mistaken as amassing an army for an invasion. So they realized right away that was going to be a problem. And so, for the Russians, it wasn't so bad because they were able to pick up the M56 helmet relatively quickly, and it wasn't such a problem. But the Americans and the British and the French and the West Germans had a problem. And so what they did was because most countries had pretty much switched to a M1-looking helmet at that time. The French have the M51 helmet, and the Americans obviously have the M1. A bunch of other countries, pretty much in the western parts of Europe, have used the M1. Pretty much everyone did at some point. That created a problem because it could be very easily mistaken for amassing troops. So they ended up giving the German border guards and the German police and people that worked very, very close proximity to the border or the rural areas of Germany, forest protection troops and stuff like that. Everything like that in rural areas or places that could be observed relatively easy by the enemy, they kept using the stahlhelm. Now, this is almost an exact copy of the German World War II M40 stahlhelm. The only difference between the M40 and the M35 is the air rivet is not the air holes right here are not a separate piece. The M35, they're a separate piece. M40, they're part of the shell. And the M42s had a rolled rim. That was the only difference between the M40s and the M42s, and the only difference between the M35s and the M40s. So this helmet, as you can see here, it no longer has the eagle and the swastika on it. Both sides have an iron cross, which has been a long symbol of Germany for a very, very, very long time, and so it's even today. It's still a very important part of German history. So this helmet is essentially the same copy of a M40 helmet. So take a look here, swivel it around so you can see it. There you go. You can see the 3 split pins. These ones are a little bit different colored, but most of them you'll see that will have the same color. You can find them with a bunch of different decals on them depending on which branch of service was using them at the time. But this helmet, unlike most German ones, which you'll see marked around the skirt, isn't. It's pretty much an unmarked helmet shell. But the giveaway is the liner. The dead giveaway is the liner. The liner is pretty much the same as the M40 liner, except now they're all marked and says made in West Germany right on it. So the top part of the West and the top part of Germany is cut out, but it's kind of a little bit, cut off there, but it says made in West Germany on it. So it has the size stamped right in the back, size 58, which is what I wear. It's held in place with a drawstring. It's got the perforations up the front. It has this weird kind of rubberized open cell foam, which I'm guessing just stank to high hell after you sweat in it, for a long period of time. The chin strap is a very high quality leather. It's blackened on one side, but it's kind of a very cheap blackening, as you can see when I squish it there, how it literally just kind of tears apart. Now this leather is pretty dry too. This helmet's pretty old. so I'm guessing it hasn't been taken care of very well, but it's the suede on the back. It's got the same kind of buckle. It's a roller buckle. They call it a roller buckle because you see how this part rolls here, and that's to allow it to not cut into the strap as much. It keeps the strap a higher longevity, but other than that, it's pretty much the same exact thing you would see on a World War II version of the Stahlhelm. Now, these helmets continue to be in service up until like the 90s with border troops in some extent or another, and in reserves and in storage. So they weren't fully phased out. They were kept in place for emergencies and stuff like that. It's the same kind of aluminum frame that you see it on. It has cork spacers between the shell. This is size 66 shell. So just wanted to throw this video out there on some of the lesser known Stahlhelms, because everyone does the videos on the big ones, the M35s, the M40s, and the M42s, but that wasn't the end of the Stahlhelm's life. There was a lot of other versions post-war and used by other countries that were pretty much exact copies. So I just wanted to get some information out there on some of these lesser known versions and stuff like that. And these can be found still out there on the market. So if you're a big reenactor or something and you don't want to use a Chinese copy or something that's a reproduction made in some other country, this is an actual made in German Stahlhelm, but there's not a whole lot of significant history tied to them. So beating up on one of these isn't beating up on a super important piece of history. So if you're a kind of person that likes that, this might be an option for you. So hopefully you like this video and you subscribed if you're into the sort of stuff. If you have any input, additional information, or if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please leave those in the comments, and I will do my best to answer them. Hopefully I will see you guys in the next video.